Hello there everyone, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Well, I saw this internet post online about this basically. It's like a just hodl in the cryptocurrency universe, and it's basically this thing here. And I actually created a small meme by itself by the script that I'm going to show you now, and it is this one here. So I was basically taking the same idea, but I was applying it to another image or another thing. So let's get into it, and I show you how this can be done in Grasshopper and Rhino. So, okay, I already have the file here, and as you see, for example, if I would change the size and everything for it, it would change to it as well. And I can obviously change the parameters according to my needs, and also change the jittering effect and all those kind of stuff. But I will just show you this by making a new file, and we're going to go through this one by one. It's a little bit of a different topic, but it is also not that hard to follow. So first of all, I was starting by just drawing out the file here. I just put like a picture image in there in Rhino and then imported it into the thing. So we do it by geometry first. So topic this one, and then we are going to make a bounding. So I will just draw this out very quickly. So basically we have the shape, whatever it might be, and then the shape will basically have a bounding box surrounding it, and then we want to divide this box up here in the top ones, and we also want to divide them in the bottom ones, like down here. And then we're going to connect those lines together, basically. And when they're connected together, we want to remove the parts that are outside of this one here. And once those are removed, I want to create a line at this part, or this will be the line that's given there. And then every line will be basically has a certain value, like here and there, because it's like the candlestick that we saw before. Like it has to top out here and then go down, and then the next one has to start at the same position and then goes down, and when it goes up it has to be green. So those are like things we also need to take in mind. So we need to, for example, this is like a red one, then this one might also be a red one, but when it goes up again, it's like, not this one, sorry. This one needs to be like this, and then when I'm having a green candle, so the price is going up, basically, like this, we're having one this, and this would go up there again. And obviously it should not go out of those places here. So this is basically the idea that we want to do. So let me just double click the geometry. So one geometry, put it in here, and then we do a bounding box. And I will not need to cheat actually to look at the other script, because I might be a little bit confused. Now we have the bounding box, and we want to deconstruct this B-rep. And when we deconstruct it, we basically have this surrounding here and the vertices. And we want to basically, we could do it in several ways, but we just dispatch them for now. So this is like the two vertices there and two from there, or we can just do it by do another dispatch, maybe like this. Yeah, I think this would be fine. It's kind of a well, let's do it different. Sorry, I'm sorry. I want to create a list item, and this takes those steps out, and I will create a number slider with a 1 and a 0 in it. And this will basically take those two curves in the beginning, when we need to multi-line those. So we will have those 2 points here, the one over here and the one over there. And we want to do the same thing with the vertices, but they need to be like the top ones. So it will be actually 2 and 3, which are taken from there. Good. And now we also want to just create a line through those points as well. And we want to hide this one here and the content here. And you see you have those lines here, and we want to divide them now equally, and with a number slider. And once they are divided, we want to put them together, and I think there will be like a little mistake, as you will see now. Yeah, they're crossed, and we want to have them straight down. And we can do this by either flipping this curve, or we can just change the parameter from 3 to 2 and 2 to 3, so it will basically take it in the other order around. So now we have that, and so this will be our lines here. Same. And now we need to also remove those lines from that space. So we can do this under intersect, physical, then curve with another curve. So this will be our first curve, and the second curve will be our closed polyline that we created here in the beginning. And you see it creates those dots on those points there, as we wanted to have them. And we are going to shatter them at those points. So we are creating the curve here, and the parameter will be on the params of A, and they will now be shattered. It will look the same, but as you see here, it will create 2 or 3 remaining polylines. So that's already pretty good, and we can just dispatch them. And so basically it will take out like 1, 2, 1, 2, like those. And we have to just take a look. I will just hide those for now, and we see if this would work correctly. Okay. This is not exactly the result I want to have at the moment. Ah yeah, we need to have the dispatch pattern might need to be different. I'm actually not that sure why it does it like this. So we have the segments, we have the curves, and the curves will be then split at those parameters. Ah yeah, we need to graft it, I think, right? And now, ah yeah, that looks already way better. Yeah, we needed to, because it created a new tree in Grasshopper, so we need to graft it like here as well. And we just need to take the inner part now. So this looks already pretty good. It takes those curves out very nice and good. And I will just hide those for now. Okay. Now we want to create those in between, like, so that it goes like up and it goes more up, and sometimes it goes down and sometimes it goes back up again. I might need to cheat a little bit and look at the other file of how I made it here, so I will not get caught up too much by it. But what the basic premise will be, this curve that is created in here has basically we can basically evaluate this curve from 0, or like from 0 to 1, from the length of it. And we want to create a random amount of lists from zeros and ones that goes basically always up and down to it. So we're just gonna first just evaluate the surface, evaluate the curve. And if you see, if you just create the curve here and we just put a parameter in there, like this, you see at 0 it is at the beginning, and at 1 it's gonna be at the end, or the other way around. Doesn't matter how, like, depending on how you see it. And the good thing now is that we can create what we basically want to create. We first need to see, because we don't want those curves to be outside of those things as well. So it needs to be the correct amount of it as well. So we can do this in several ways. I think I did it different the other one, but I think I will just do it like this here. So we are going to know the endpoints basically of the curves that we created here, and then we will deconstruct this those points, and the beginning point and the end point. And because we're already dealing with vertical lines here, we have to define the of the y-axis, because it's the x-axis, this is the y-axis. We want to define the points on top and the points on the bottom. So and then we create a range for it, and this range then will be the point that will be defined in there. Basically, it's a little bit complicated, but I think you will get it. So we have those points here, and then we have the endpoints here, and then we will construct domain, and the domain start will be the y and those things here. And when we create it from here, we can see the lines will always be like this one will start here and will end here, start here and here. And that now needs to be actually remapped, maybe, because we want to create the value would be between, so the source will be between 1 and 256. Let me actually check real quick of how I made it here, if I even made it quite similar here. So I created the points and those points, so this is the parameters. I created from the parameters here, and then I created the I created from the parameters, which is, I think, more intelligent than doing it with doing it like that. So we're gonna go from the parameters, so we're gonna just dispatch them as well, and we're gonna create a domain start and end with it as well. Yeah, okay, this looks already a little bit better. This one's very small, right? So only this very small curve, and the other ones look fine as well. Okay, now we will create, I think, a series of numbers, and the numbers depends on the length or the amount of how many things there are. I think I can also just use the number slider, this amount of lines, and this then will, and we want to remap those numbers as well. So this will be the bounds will be from that, and the value of it would come from the source of remap numbers would come from that, and the value that we want to remap would come from the series itself, and the target will be the domain that we create here in the first place, and that will give us a certain amount of numbers here. And we might also need to I need to put this count in here, and I think I need to actually graft this tree. Okay, and now we will evaluate the curve with the parameter that we have here and the curve that we created from there. Okay, yeah, this looks already quite a lot like how I wanted to have it. So it will always stay in this kind of range that we defined in the beginning, and we also might want to increase or decrease the range as well, because we want to give some leeway if this is like too much on the inner or the outer side, basically. So we're going to just multiply it. I think I will do a multiplication of 0.1 till 1.1. It should be fine. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. And because this will be the top end, I want to have the other way around on the bottom. Okay. I wonder if I'm missing something here, because on the top it doesn't really move by that much at the moment. I wondered, well, we can just simply always like add something to it. and maybe subtract. This will be like a more ghetto solution in my opinion, but same. Let's just put this in here, and it has a very like rather small number. Choose 0, 0, 1, and we do by 3 like here. And this then will also be a subtraction from the other, or we just do like a negative addition. That's, well, basically the same thing. Okay. Okay, this looks a little better already. If you want to have some distance, but I think there are switch around it. If I put this one in here and this one in there, main start and end. Well, I think it could be, there's something I'm not getting at the moment, but I think for now it should be fine, at least if you have some kind of because this one goes up more and the other one goes down more. That's why I'm a bit confused by it actually. We can maybe also just add or remove from here, or we can change the source as well. I get a little bit confused because this one goes up and the other ones go down, and I'm not exactly sure why. Anyway, let me actually just check quickly from the other script that we had here. Because here I made something similar as well, right? I had the parameters from the other ones, and then they get subtracted or added, and it will be used as a target as well from the list length of the series that we had before. So I think I made everything more or less the same here. Maybe I need to create like this. Okay, now they both go up. That's good, I guess. So they both go up. This one is kind of weird, but we'll get to this later. They both go up. However, I want one of them also to go down. If I subtract from here as well, what will happen? Okay. Anyway, that happens when you just try to record at the moment and you are getting not the results that you want. But I think that's fine for now. Anyway, so now we have the points created and we also have the lines, right? Yeah, we have the lines here. And what we also need to do now, because we have the points here, we want to have it like, this is like very stable at the moment, and want to have it like more randomly, let's say. So we're just gonna put a jitter in here, and we just put this one in here because those things go like random, right? And they, as you see now, they go all kind of all over the place, and we can make the randomness factor more extreme or less extreme to it. Okay, this looks pretty good so far. And I might also want to, because here this one in the beginning is kind of weird and this one in the end as well, because yeah, it's not really the way I want. So I will just gonna remove with cool index the first and the last one. So this one and then -1, and that will be also, we need to be multi-lines. So now we have those points removed as well, because I need to flatten them as well. So now those points are removed, and I also will do the same one with the lines that we had here in the beginning. Perfect. Okay, now we have our things defined, and what we need to now take a look at is basically this candlestick needs to go up here. It's outside, that's not very good, but okay. And then it needs to be the same, like the same value as this one, and then it needs to go down there like that. So this is actually not that difficult to do. We are just going to, there are actually several ways of how we can do it. We can just simply make the curve parameter and we can just shift it by 1. So we would basically know the value of the next one, but I want to do it in a different way. I want to deconstruct the point that we have, and I want to basically shift the to the next point, like of the Y location, and then this would give us if we subtract those two from each other, it would give us a amount, basically the delta between those two. So just by trying this out for now, we just do a rectangle, and this rectangle will start here, and it will have the Y size of that, and as you see, it will create those candlesticks all correctly. Yeah, and at the moment you see they're kind of going out of the space a little bit. That's why I wanted to have it more this thing more defined, but for some reason I'm kind of confused of how to create this correctly for the moment. Let me actually try this again, because the domain end needs to be less here, right? And the domain end is always something like there, but I also want the domain start to be less, to be more, right? So the domain start was from here. Did I fix it now? Okay, yeah, for some reason, I don't know what I did wrong before, but I guess I didn't try it out all, but this would like at least keep some of them, not all of them as you see, more in check here, which is a bit more better. And we will also create a domain to make the things thicker or not thicker depending on the needs. So construct domain, and we would just do it very simply by having a number slider that goes from negative to positive, like that. And this would be the X size, and we can just like make it smaller or bigger. And depending on our needs, we can also make it more random here as well. I'm actually quite annoyed that I don't know whether it's different this time around, but that those points are kind of reaching out. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I think that doesn't really matter anyway, because it will, when we have this hidden like this, and we will not see it anymore. Where do I else have it? Don't wanna. Where do I have it activated? That's why when you don't know what the fuck you're dealing with, and I don't know why. Why does it show in red at the moment? It shouldn't be. Something here. Anyway, just deactivate all of it. So yeah, you see, it doesn't really matter anyway, because this line also will be not seen, because it will be in the background as well. So like the line stick will be there in the background. Anyway, now that we have those defined for the moment, we also want to create a hatch or like a surface. But we want to also import into Illustrator later, actually. So to have it correctly that they're in the same color. And Illustrator often takes polylines, and it doesn't take surfaces that well. So we want to make it that there are certain polylines out there. And we just do this by making a dispatch pattern, which then depends on if the number in between this one and this one will be negative or positive. And we have this one here, so we do a smaller than. The first number will be this one, and the second number will be simply 0. And this then will create our dispatch pattern of the rectangles here. And you see it will create those are the red ones you see, and the other ones are the green ones, right? Yeah. So like basically like this. And we just make a custom preview quickly. And from the geometry that we have here, and then we do a color picker. Is the correct one? I don't know. This one also should be the green one. And then we make another one with another color, and the color will be red in this case. And I want to hide those ones for now. Oh yeah, this one's the other one. Perfect. So this already gives us our main form and shape. And now we want to, you can either just join them together. I think we just do it this way because otherwise it would take ages to define correctly. So we will just join those curves here together, and we will also join those curves there together, and we will also create a geometry here as well from the lines that we created at the beginning, like those ones here, right? No, those ones. And we want to bake this one, so bake group yes, it's very important. Then bake this one, group it as well, and then bake that one, and then group it as well. And if we now hide all the Rhino geometry, and we go to the Rhino file, we can move this like over here. And yeah, obviously just before we go out of Rhino and Grasshopper, just so you know, so basically we have this shape now, right? And we can obviously change it as you want on the go, and it should be updating it on, I have to, yeah, it should be updating on the go, depending on if you want to change some of the parameters and make it more to your liking as well. So you see, for example, here it will automatically update the color if the candlestick goes red or if it goes green. And then we also have, we can also obviously change the amount of it as well. And yeah, for example, then change it accordingly. And if you also have the shape like this, obviously we can actually turn it a little bit, or if I want to, for example, now change the size of it like this. I need to change the bottom one as well. You see it will automatically change to it as well, so that's like pretty cool. So it just fully parameterized, and you can take any closed pole line that is none. If it does some things like those, I think, yeah, you see it get a little bit buggy, but if I will stay basically inside of it, or like it has no overhang, it will work fine. Okay, anyway, we already have an hour in here, so I just want to put those things into the file in Illustrator as well. So we have those shapes, those things here, and I want to just give them colors quickly. So this one will be the red one, and should move it. This one will be the green one. And now we just do export, and we export it to Illustrator actually, and then just like test whatever. And once it's saved, you would like to open those in the Illustrator file as well now. And when it's opened, you have it here. And I don't know if it's group as well. No, it's not. But you need to, if you go under it's like selection, same view, you can Control G this one, and then you also do like select same view again for the green one, and you can also do it with layers. I just did the other way, and that one as well. And now we need to, from the green ones and the red ones, we need to basically shift the inner and the outer part like this, and we also want to shift those here as well. And then in my example I also made like a black background from it as well that has black color, and we need to put it in the background as well. Transform, send to back. And we also have the candlesticks as well that we want to make white, so they have some kind of contrast here. So this works out pretty great, and we want to move them as well a little bit to the back, because yeah, otherwise, well, whatever. So nice, yeah. And then the final part, what I made as well, is to obviously take a font of some kind, and that was I'm hodling it right. And I think McDonald's has a Helvetica Neue style, and I think it's bold, but actually I have bold, that's pretty good. And this will be then also put like here. And now we have that, and then you just need to you might want to crop it as well, like the place here, more or less in the middle. And now you just need to export it, and obviously exporting it, you can just do it with PDF, so then it doesn't lose any of its like the vectorized things, or you can just save it with PNG, and then in the end you would have some kind of yeah, form like this. So yeah, thank you much for watching. This was a little bit long, but I think it was a very interesting idea, because like you can just basically take almost every shape that, or everything that you can think of, and you could just translate it to something that's also like an art piece. So that's, I think, pretty cool. And it might not have to do so much with architecture and with design, but it's still kind of useful if you have an idea and just like translate it like that. So yeah, thank you much for watching. I hope this wasn't too much information, and I hope I kind of had a clear idea of it, even though there were some missteps here. But yeah, thank you much for watching, and see you in the next one. Thank you very much.